Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Meet Praneeth. So today's video is going to be very interesting. I'm not sure how many of you have already read about this, but today we are going to discuss what's the history of H-1B visas. When was the H-1B program started? What was the reason behind it? And what is the impact of H-1B on the US economy and the job market? So we'll discuss everything today, and this video will come in two parts. In the first part, we'll discuss about why it was started, when it was started, why this cap of 65,000 we have right now. And after that, in the second part, we'll discuss more about the impact that H-1B creates on the US economy. So hopefully you'll enjoy this video till the very end, and it's a very interesting video, so watch till the very end. It will give you a lot of information and knowledge. Before starting the video, let me just quickly give you an introduction to the live webinar that I did last week. So the webinar is now public and can be watched by everyone who has missed this for some reason. And in that webinar, I talked about EB1, specifics about EB1. I also interacted with the audience questions and I tried to answer as many as I can. And I provided a wealth of information, which generally it will be very difficult for you to find from other videos or other websites. So hopefully that video or webinar would be very useful for you. So do watch it. I'll put the link in the description. Now let's start today's video and see what is the history of H-1B visa. So H-1B visa was started by Congress, US Congress in 1990. And in 1990, the US Congress decided to start H-1B visas because the companies or the industries which required people from different backgrounds, specifically the STEM background, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And these companies were looking for people with these backgrounds and skill set so that they can employ these people and help United States progress in different sectors. When all this demand was high, Congress came up with a new program that was named or termed as H-1B visas. Now, H-1B visas was defined for specialty occupation, for anyone who has at least a bachelor's degree and has the skill set of a specialty occupation can apply for an H-1B visa, and the company can recruit that person or employ that person to help them drive their goal or their product, which could basically help United States progress in different fields. So this was the goal of creating H-1B. Now, how many of you know that? Please comment in the comment section and let me know if you already knew that the program was started in 1990. Now, after the Congress started the program, the limit of H-1Bs given per year was set to 65,000. However, in 2001, the limit was increased to 195,000, and that remained the same from 2001 to 2003. So from 1991 till 2001, the limit was 65,000. And in 2005, or probably, let me just quickly double check the numbers. Yes, and I think from 2006, Congress added extra 20,000 visas or H-1Bs, which were specifically reserved for people who had masters or PhD. So just to recap, it started in 1991 with 65,000 cap. Till 2001, it was 65,000, then it increased to 195,000 till 2003, and from 2003 again, it was changed to 65,000. And till now, till date, it's still 65,000 plus 20,000 reserved for people with masters and PhD. Now let's talk about the denial rate, right? So the denial rate was highest in the Trump administration, and it peaked at around 24%. And recently it started to come down, and now it lingers around 5 to 6%, or like it has reduced a lot from what it was being in the Trump administration. Now, one other interesting fact that I found out that in 2018 and 2019, 500,000 people were welcomed in the United States on H-1B. That includes H-1B holders and their family members. So that's a huge number. But that number significantly dropped in 2020 because of the pandemic and came down to 300,000 or so. The other interesting fact, which I'm not sure you were aware about, but H-1B visas when they were created, there was a lot of research done that would these visas take over the jobs of the native people who were born here or who were living here permanently, and to basically, is the H-1B only filling the gaps, or it's basically taking the jobs, right? That was the question asked. And the research that's being done, even in the current times, show that H-1B holders do not take over the jobs of the native people who were born here. Instead, they fill the gaps. So basically, what happens is it's a complementing thing where H1B people in United States who are living in United States on H1B and working for the company are basically contributing to the US economy rather than stealing away the jobs for people who were born here. So I think if you look at the H1B program right now, it seems to me that Congress really needs to think and do some kind of reform to the program, at least increase the number of H1Bs given throughout the year, right? At least from 65,000, they could definitely bring it back to 195,000, which were given during the 2001-2003 period. So that was another interesting fact that I found. The other important thing about H1B is it comes in two flavors. The first is cap exempt, and the other is cap. Which comes with like, for example, if you go for an industry, the H1B has to go through a number of rounds of lottery, and if you're selected in the lottery, then you will go through the whole process of getting your H1B adjudication done. However, if you're coming from a non-profit industry or non-profit institution, then you do not have to go through the lottery system. It's basically that you are working for a non-profit institution, so you do not have to go through the lottery system, and you come in the cap exempt criteria. The other thing that I think is very important and is something that has changed recently. So earlier, the registration process for H1B was that the company has to file all the application, the complete application included everything about the employer, about the applicant, and has to go as a package to USCIS. But out of those applications, only 65,000 will be selected, or USCIS generally selects a little bit more than that. To hopefully fill the complete number of visas that there are available. However, from 2020 onwards, the process was changed a bit. So now what happens, you don't have to give or provide the complete application. You provide minimal information about the employer and the applicant or the employee, and you have to pay $10 for the registration. And once you have registered, then it goes through a lottery system. If your applicant's or your employee's application is picked, USCIS notifies the employer, and then the employer can basically file the complete application, and it has 3 months to file it. Now, generally, what happens, let's say USCIS picked 100,000 applications. Out of those, in the first round, let's say only 45,000 people had their companies file their full H1B application. So then USCIS will have to go back into the lottery and pull more people out so that they can fill those 65,000 visas. But generally, it happens way faster, and these days it gets filled up within that fiscal year. So I think it's a huge demand, and I think that's why there are a lot of immigration reforms that are needed. Specifically, H1B would be one of them. Now, associated to H1B, I also wanted to throw some news out, which I came across, that people who are laid off will have more than 60 days. They will have at 180 days. Now, it's not confirmed yet. It's just a proposal that the minimum grace period to stay in the United States without a job should be increased from 60 to 180 days, so that it gives people enough time to think, to understand what to do, what should be their next step, and just don't disrupt their lives, which is being when they're being here for, let's say, a decade or more, right? I think that's a great step in the right direction, and if it gets passed, I think that would be good, or a big relief to people who are in this situation right now. The other thing that I came across is, if you are laid off and you have a severance package, and let's say the severance package is paid for you 3 months after your layoff day, or let's say 6 months, like whatever the package is, do talk to your attorney and make sure that your grace period will start after your severance ends. Make sure that is the case. I think USCIS tried to clarify that, and it says that your grace period will start once your last paycheck comes in, and that would be the end of your severance. And if that's the case, that will definitely give a lot of people a lot more time to think, time to strategize, and time to find a new job. One other thing that I wanted to add to it, that if you're working in tech, and I think recently Meta announced another 10,000 people will be laid off, which is a huge number. And I think already a lot of people have been laid off. I think more than 50,000 people have been laid off from different companies. I might be wrong in the number, but it's a huge number. So think about areas where people are not going for a job. Like, you can always go and start learning a new thing. You can add something to your profile which will make you a little bit unique. And if this 60 to 180 days happen, then I think that would really be very useful thing to do. Basically, to take a course which will boost your profile, which help you basically get up the ladder and try for a new job altogether. Also, the other thing that you can do is look for non-profit industries. See if you can apply for a non-profit, though the salary would be less, but at least the job security would be way higher, and you don't have to go through the lottery system. So I think that could be also a very good beneficial thing. So in this video, I wanted to keep it short. I wanted to just give you a little bit of history about H1B and some news that have come across in terms of H1B grace period and when the grace period starts. Just to quickly recap, and do wait for the next video, the next part, which will be the last part of this series, where I will talk about the H1B's impact on US economy. So few things, let's to recap. H1B was started in 1990 by Congress to basically fill the gaps in STEM. And till now, the research clearly shows that H1B workers do not steal the jobs of the Native Americans or the people who were born here or live permanently here. Instead, they help drive the economy in the right direction, and basically they help economy to grow over the time. The second thing is the cap exempt, or the 65,000 visas that was started in 1991. That was the cap, and then it remained the same till 2001, and then it increased, and then again from 2003 till now 2023, like almost 20 years, it's still the same 65,000 and plus 20,000 for people who have masters or green card. Oh, sorry, not green card, masters or PhD. After that, the denial rate was really high during the Trump administration, but it's trying to come down, and that's a good news again. And the other thing that we were just hearing, and I think I also made a video on it, that H1B stamping might be started again in the United States, which was run as a pilot program way back. And I think if they can continue the same, it would be really very helpful for people. They do not have to travel back outside of the country to get your H1B stamped. Another proposal that's been seen to coming up, which we'll discuss, and it's a very, very important proposal. I think that would help a lot of people who are in the backlog of green cards, and that we will discuss in the second part of this video, which will come pretty soon. So if you have not watched the webinar on EB1, please do go watch it. It's for people who are both in the academic profile and non-academic profile. I tried to make sure I'm talking about the criterias, which basically is applicable to both the sets, and hopefully all your questions will be answered through it. If not, let's connect on LinkedIn, and I'll be very happy to help you and answer your questions. I do definitely apologize that I sometimes get a little delayed in answering the questions, just because of my work, making videos and answering questions, but I'll definitely try my best to get back to each one of you who has been sending a message and is waiting for a reply. The other important announcement that I wanted to make is I'm going to bring a very talented immigration attorney on the channel very, very soon. I'm just in the phase of introduction calls, making sure we have this. We have our basically pages aligned, and I wanted to talk to them and make sure I'm satisfied with the answers and what kind of questions they can help the audience that watches this channel. So stay tuned. Big announcement would be up pretty soon, where I will discuss who is coming to the channel, what kind of questions they will ask, and we can think of ways. It could be either a conversation, and that could be just a video, or we can think of another webinar. So in the comments, please let me know, do you want a webinar or do you want a regular video? I'll go with whatever fits. So if it's a webinar, it's a webinar. If it's a video, we'll do a video. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And hopefully you're enjoying the videos, you're enjoying the content. As you know, I try to make very straightforward videos, very straightforward titles. I don't put any BS into it. So I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, I'm really loving the way the community is growing. We are now 1,300 plus subscribers. That's really a very, very good achievement for both of us. So see you in the next video very soon. Have a wonderful weekend, and